A message to the Christian community.
Yes.
Stop sending young underage kids to discuss with Muslims. Have your own discussion.
Weeks later.
Hey, I don't know myself.
Let's teach him.
First time debating.
Let's teach
I'm a
him.
15-year-old trying to.
What are you
just have a normal debate.
By the way,
But
Mansour said to young Bob that he wouldn't talk to him because he was too young. Young Bob is
Since you
younger
mentioned
than
your
18.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. In this video, we're going to be looking at our old friend Mansour. Now, for those of you who don't know, in London, in the UK, at a place called Speaker's Corner, there are quite a few dawah guys, and that's a term that basically means a Muslim man, exclusively a man, pretty much, who goes around trying to evangelize his religion to others. Now you might think, oh, that's fine, you know, we're all used to Christians who preach in the street, they get up on a little soapbox and they shout their message, and we're fine with that, we've had that for ages. No. This is something very different. What these Muslim dawah guys are doing is they operate basically a business. So they will go to Speaker's Corner with cameramen and they will have like an entourage of people waiting around the edges, and they'll wait for unsuspecting people who are not Muslim. Usually they look native English or native from the UK, and they'll pounce on them with the hopes of engaging you, not really in a conversation, but more of like a 15-minute presentation where they tell you how amazing Islam is. And if there's any resistance to this, most people would just be like, oh, okay, this guy's not interested. Let him be, let him go on his way. No. They will debate you in the most degrading, hateful way you can imagine. They will ridicule what you believe. They will mock you. They will insult you. They'll imply you're dumb for not knowing things. They will do everything they can to put random strangers who are non-Muslim on the spot and look basically as foolish as they possibly can. It's a trick, basically. You might have heard of people that go around on the streets trying to like engage in social interactions to record it for their YouTube channels. This is basically the dawah version of that, the Muslim evangelical version of this. So you get people like Mansour here and others who go around and they want to ensnare non-Muslims in their little trap, get lots of Muslims around them, get lots of cameras recording them, mock and humiliate them, unless of course you just accept Islam, because you know, that'll also do well on YouTube. And then they can put the footage on their YouTube channels with Christian is destroyed, dishonest Christian, ignorant Christian, so on and so forth, where they just mock everyone shamelessly. And they monetize it and they get thousands of views because of their predominantly Muslim audience. Now, a while back, there was a glitch in the Matrix where the other people at Speaker's Corner, who are not Muslim, who just want to have normal conversations with people and not ensnare people into some sort of Muslim-dominated mosh pit. People that don't want that, they're free to have their own conversations elsewhere. And slowly more and more people have got fed up at seeing this at Speaker's Corner because it's obvious these guys are preying on people who don't want to be involved, who don't have anything to do with this, but are being suckered into it under the pretenses of, in all honesty, decency and respect and cordial conversations. If you're the average Englishman and you find yourself invited to have a conversation with them, you'd probably do so out of respect, and you'd probably do so because initially it might seem interesting to hear different perspectives, but the further you go into it, the more you quickly realize that was never the intent. It was never to have an open dialogue. It was to mock and ridicule you and whatever you believe or don't believe, as is often the case, so they can put you on YouTube, on blast, and make money from you. But because so many people have noticed this, people are pushing back. And you now have people that try to disrupt this and try to get to these people who are now encircled by 10, 20, 30 Muslim men and try to explain to them that all that's happening here is they're being baited into continuing a discussion for views. As you can imagine, people like Mansour and others don't like this. They find it very upsetting because that's directly disrupting their business model. How can you give dawah if there are no complete and utter strangers who don't want the conversation to force the conversation onto? You can't do it, so you need these people. And if people keep interrupting and explaining to these people that this guy is not honest, he's not genuine, he's got 50 cameras and he's recording you and he's putting you on YouTube right now, they're gonna leave. So how does Mansour handle this? Well, he had a nice chat with one of the Christian cameramen at Speaker's Corner where he had this to say.
Say that again.
Okay, man. Thank you.
On mic, Mansour.
Some group of heckler will be sent
Mike
to
is
your
a Christian
discussions.
community.
Don't worry.
It's okay.
Yes,
A message to the Christian community.
Yes.
stop sending young underage kids to discuss with Muslims. Have your own discussion. If you
Ibn
keep on,
Bodi.
if you keep on harassing Muslim discussion,
It's not
no
harassing.
Christian discussion can take place in Speaker's Corner, because we can do the same. We can make you taste your own medicine.
Okay, so Mansour, you're going to come to
sending
me for
hecklers-
free.
No, not to you.
Ladies and
to
gentlemen.
Bob, for example.
Okay.
And we will heckle Bob, so that Bob doesn't have any discussion. And we'll heckle every other single Christians if you want to do that. So
Okay.
if you really want to
It's
have
your
some
choice.
kind of free discussion Speaker's Corner, let Christians have their own discussions.
Yeah.
Let Muslims have their own discussion. Do not come and heckle and
Okay,
insult.
beautiful.
Does that make sense?
So, Mansour,
In Mansour's view, and the view of other Muslim Dawagandists at Speaker's Corner, there should basically be a Muslim area and a Christian area, or basically a Muslim area and everyone else area. And the two should never really meet, because that would be fair in his mind. Note in this video, he seems to be talking about a young person, a young teenage boy by the name of Bob, who's started coming to Speaker's Corner, but he's learned a lot about what they have to say, and he's prepared himself to actually go and deal with what they're saying. He actually has a response to what they say. He's not ignorant, he's actually well informed. This is problematic from their view, and that's why if you look at all these Dawah channels, they all post videos of him blasting him and calling him every name under the sun because they don't like this guy. He tells people what they're doing. Not only that, but he's actually happy just to debate them. And Mansour gives the impression that there's something bad about having conversations with teenagers. And I think there's something to that. I think there are situations where, hey, that person's probably too young to have certain conversations with. I wouldn't want to have to explain to a 15-year-old about Aisha and Muhammad, for example. That wouldn't be a conversation that I would be happy to have with a 15-year-old, because that's pretty terrible, isn't it? Instead, I think that if you do have conversations with people who are teenagers, you have to do it in a sensible way, and not in the way that the Muslim Dawagandists like Mansour do. But recently it's come to my attention that Mansour is still doing this. And I mean, to be completely transparent with you, I already knew he's still doing this. They always do this and have done this and will do this because it's their business model. They have to. And picking on people who are young is beneficial for them because people who are young don't tend to have any knowledge of Islam, let alone people who are in their 30s. But here's a clip that was posted last week with Mansour going up to a 15-year-old boy who even announces his age to Mansour.
There you go.
He's repeating himself over and over again.
I believe we're all equal, and no matter
Amen.
whatever you guys think that maybe he doesn't know, or maybe, hey, I don't know myself.
Let's teach him.
First time debating.
Let's teach
I'm a
him.
15-year-old trying to just have a normal debate.
By the way,
But-
Mansour said to young Bob that he wouldn't talk to him because he was too young. Young Bob is younger than 18.
And yet Mansour wants to mock, ridicule, and blast him online. Let's watch this clip.
But only the Father. Who is the Son and
Or
who's the
he's a
Father?
robot. He's a robot.
Father is God, of course. The Son is the flesh of the Father.
The Son himself says that he doesn't know.
No.
Does he know?
Yeah.
In flesh. No, when he's in the flesh. Sorry, can I say, please?
Is he your friend by any chance?
Yeah, he's my friend.
Okay.
Jesus, in whatever form he
My name's
is,
David.
and his form is a man, right?
A man.
You
Flesh.
explained it earlier.
Flesh.
And I asked him,
Just
he is a man,
get to read this.
does he know
Yeah.
everything?
Yeah, now.
And what did you say?
Now notice, first of all, right behind this 15-year-old teenage man is David. Someone whom perfectly willing to have a conversation, can be perfectly respectful, it is very elegantly spoken, and will be edifying to both Christians and Muslims if David and Mansour had a chat. But that won't happen because David knows too much, so Mansour won't speak with him.
So this is the answer to this question.
Of course.
You said, as a man, he would know
Real
the
quick.
future, all of it.
So effectively, what he's asking you is
It's
literally
okay. I
here.
just want to, because you.
Here?
I'll read to this.
Here?
I'll read to this. I'll read to this.
Well, you can read it to him.
Well, it's okay. I'll get onto that when I will
It's
respond.
better to have the right answer than the wrong one.
So now you have
I
explained,
appreciate it.
you have already acknowledged
I can't believe this. David is trying to give this young man advice while Mansour is ignoring him and talking to the young 15-year-old. He's okay with talking to the 15-year-old, but he isn't okay with talking to David, even though David is someone who has answers to Mansour's questions, and the 15-year-old boy is basically thinking of answers on the spot. Notice the demeanor as well. Notice the style he's engaging with. This isn't gentle. It isn't, hey, let's have a conversation. Tell me what you believe. I'll tell you about Islam. Notice he isn't even mentioning Islam, and he won't mention Islam for this entire video. He's only going on the attack against Christianity because Mansour can only deal with young boys, apparently, and not actual men.
that Jesus is a man, he knows the future just like God. 100% knowledge. So whether he's a flesh or a body or some kind of material, whatever you want to call it, still a man. Man is not God, God is not man. There's a classical distinction between them, right?
Yeah, of course.
Class distinction.
Of course.
Right. So you already affirmed that there's no reason to backtrack now. So when he said, no one knows, not even the angels, and you affirm, it means the angels do not know. And then the verse continues, not even the Son. So now you have to affirm with me, is my understanding correct? When the Son says, not even the Son knows, does that mean he knows or he doesn't know?
He knows.
Well, in the flesh, of course, when he's in flesh, he wouldn't know. But let me just explain that. Because after he got resurrected, he wasn't in the flesh no more. He got rid of this flesh, of this human form. After the resurrection, he knows he knows everything, right? And he knows even the hour now. So now,
When he was in the flesh, he didn't know.
he did. However,
But then the
hold on,
problem
let me explain.
What's going to happen is
confusing me.
there's going to be a video titled
he-
like
So the
Dumb
question is,
Christian
before the
says
resurrection
this.
in
So
your
maybe
belief,
just tell your dude what's going to happen to
while
him.
he has a body, did he
Can't help
know
him.
everything?
And David already calls out what's going to happen. In fact, I actually think the only reason this hasn't happened yet, because I've been looking at the Dawa channels and they don't seem to have uploaded this clip, I think it's precisely because David came and pointed out how young this guy is and pointed out that what they're going to do is they're going to put it online and blast him. And I think because that was caught on the cameras, they haven't uploaded it. Now, sometimes they might edit it to remove that part out, which they might have done. But as far as I can tell, despite however many people are there in the corner recording, no one's released this. Other than this Christian channel that recorded it. But if that Christian channel wasn't there, he would have been blasted online, I think. But you can tell he's getting frustrated because it's the same question asked again and again, just in slightly different ways. And it's there to try to get a gotcha moment so you can be mocked and ridiculed so they can make money from you. It's probably one of the most dishonest, and it's like a 21st century way. You're a prosperity debater. You go and debate people who are 15-year-old boys, because you can't debate men, for your social media, and you do this repeatedly. And when people call you out and say, hey, you shouldn't be doing this, you're targeting people who don't want to be on camera, you're putting them on the spot, you're mocking and ridiculing them, and of course it goes on the internet, and everything on the internet is forever. I mean, that's just one side of it. You can find Dawa channels that make videos based on conversations that were recorded at Speaker's Corner where they say things like, this guy's a white supremacist. They will stoop to whatever level, or this guy is a Zionist, or this guy is a XYZ, and they will do everything they can to mock and ridicule you. And it can have real implications on who you are as a person. If your family see it, if your friends see it, if your work see it. But these guys think they can act with impunity and get away with doing this kind of stuff. Remember how he did the video on Billy, or Bilal, a few weeks ago? Well, you go on the Dawa channels, you'll see lots of videos about him, and they're all calling him every name under the sun, because they cannot tolerate any kind of non-Muslim dissidence. Anything that is critical to Islam, they have to make a video on, mock and ridicule the person relentlessly, even if the person just wanted a normal conversation. That's the level of dishonesty that you find with these Dawagandists at Speaker's Corner. And to be honest with you, it's going away from Speaker's Corner because they realize their time at Speaker's Corner is probably coming to an end. It's just not as advantageous for them to be there anymore. That's why you see Dawa stalls everywhere in London, in Leicester Square, Shepherd's Bush, Stratford. You see these Dawa stalls because, well, too many people know about Islam at Speaker's Corner. So you gotta go elsewhere. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you liked that quick video. If you have any questions about the Christian faith, you can email me at chris@speakerscorner@gmail.com. My email is in the box down below. I hope you all have a lovely day. God bless, and take care.